You're sitting in a crowded room, laughter echoes around you, but you're silent. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you learned a long time ago that your words don't matter as much as everyone else's. Your chest tightens. Your smile feels heavy, almost like a mask you forgot to take off. And the worst part? No one notices. If you've ever felt invisible in a room full of people, if you've ever swallowed your thoughts so many times they started to dissolve, this video will uncover why. Because what you're about to discover isn't just about being quiet, it's about survival. Let me take you back. You were 7 years old when you first realized adults don't always mean what they say. Someone yelled, someone cried. Maybe it was about you, maybe it wasn't. But in that moment, you made a decision that would shape the rest of your life. You made yourself small. You stopped asking for things. You stopped crying when you were hurt. You learned to read the emotional temperature of a room before you even walked in. Psychologists call this hypervigilance, a state where your nervous system is constantly scanning for danger. But you didn't know that back then. You just knew that being loud felt unsafe. Being needy felt like a threat. So you became quiet. And at first, it worked. Adults praised you. You're so mature for your age. You're so easy. I wish all kids were like you. What they didn't realize, what you didn't realize, was that you weren't being good. You were disappearing. Fast forward to now. You replay conversations for hours, analyzing every word you said, every expression you made. You scan people's faces like a detective searching for clues. You apologize for things that aren't your fault, for taking up space, for having needs, for simply existing. But here's what no one tells you. That quietness, it wasn't a choice. It was an adaptation. Your nervous system learned that being seen was dangerous, so it taught you to vanish. In 1996, Dr. Elaine Aron published groundbreaking research on highly sensitive children. She found that some kids are born with nervous systems that process the world more deeply. They pick up on subtleties, absorb emotions like sponges, and react intensely to their environments. But here's the dark part. When those sensitive kids grow up in unpredictable or emotionally volatile homes, they don't just become quiet. They become invisible by design. Every time you silenced yourself to keep the peace, your nervous system learned, my needs are dangerous. My voice causes pain. I am safer when I don't exist. You remember the day you stopped raising your hand in class, not because you didn't know the answer, but because being seen felt like being exposed. Like standing naked under a spotlight. So you stayed silent, and the teacher never called on you again, and part of you felt relief. But another part, a part you didn't have words for, felt erased. And now, decades later, you're still playing small. In your career, you don't speak up in meetings. In your relationships, you agree to things you don't want. In your own thoughts, you dismiss your feelings before anyone else can. Because somewhere deep in your wiring, you still believe that your voice is too much. Or worse, not enough. But not all quiet is the same. There are 3 types of quiet kids, and each one developed a different survival strategy. Type 1, the observer. You learn to read rooms before entering them. Every facial expression is data. Every pause in conversation is a puzzle you need to solve. You became fluent in body language, micro-expressions, tone shifts. You can tell when someone's lying, when they're angry, when they're about to leave, not because you're psychic, but because your survival depended on predicting danger. The problem? You're so busy reading everyone else that you've lost the ability to read yourself. Type 2. The peacekeeper. Conflict feels like death, so you smile when you want to scream. You agree when you want to walk away. You apologize when someone else hurt you. You've become a human shock absorber, soaking up everyone's discomfort so the room stays calm. But here's the cost. You've spent so much energy managing other people's emotions that yours have no place to go. They sit in your chest, in your throat, in the pit of your stomach, unexpressed, unprocessed, slowly turning into anxiety and exhaustion. Type 3. The disappeared. You're not just quiet, you're absent. When things get too intense, you leave your body. Psychologists call this dissociation a protective response, where your mind separates from the present moment. You're in the room, but you're not really there. You're floating somewhere above yourself, watching your life like a movie you're not starring in. And the scariest part? Sometimes you don't even notice you've left. But here's the part that'll make your skin crawl. Your quietness made you powerful. Wait, what? Yes. While other kids were learning to demand attention, you were learning something far more valuable. You became fluent in a language most people never learn. The language of unspoken pain. You can walk into a room and feel the tension no one's talking about. You can look at someone and know they're not okay, even when they say they're fine. You became perceptive in ways that most people will never understand. Quiet kids grow up to be the most insightful adults. The therapists, the writers, the artists, the ones who see what others miss. But that gift came with a price. You can read everyone's emotions, except your own. There's a term for this, alexithymia. It means difficulty identifying and describing your own emotional experience. You've spent so long interpreting other people's needs that yours became a foreign language. Someone asks, "How are you feeling?" And you freeze. Not because you don't want to answer, but because you genuinely don't know. You've been so busy being the translator for everyone else's pain that you forgot to listen to your own. And then comes the breaking point. Maybe it's a panic attack in a bathroom stall at work. Maybe it's lying in bed at 3 a.m., chest tight, replaying a conversation from 6 years ago. Maybe it's realizing you've said "I'm fine" so many times that you can't remember what fine actually feels like. In his book, The Body Keeps the Score, trauma researcher Dr. Bessel van der Kolk explains that trauma isn't just stored in memories, it's stored in the body. Every swallowed emotion, every silent scream, every moment you made yourself small, your body remembers. And eventually, it speaks. That tightness in your chest, that's your body saying, "I can't hold this anymore." That lump in your throat, that's decades of unspoken words trying to find their way out. That exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, that's the weight of a lifetime spent carrying everyone else's emotions while burying your own. This is your nervous system finally screaming what your voice never could. And here's the beautiful, terrifying truth. That breakdown, it's actually a breakthrough. So, what do you do now? First, understand this. Healing doesn't mean becoming loud. It doesn't mean forcing yourself to be someone you're not. It means learning to exist without disappearing. Start with whispers, not roars. Practice saying, "I need a moment," instead of vanishing. Practice saying, "I don't agree," instead of nodding. It'll feel uncomfortable. It'll feel wrong. Your nervous system will scream that you're in danger, but you're not. You're just learning a new language, the language of presence. Second, journal your body's signals. When your chest tightens, that's data. When your throat closes, that's a message. Your body has been trying to speak for years. It's time to start listening. Write down what you feel physically, then ask, "What is this trying to tell me?" Third, find safe people, not perfect people, safe people. The ones who can hold space for your silence and your voice. The ones who don't need you to perform or fix or shrink. Start small. One person, one conversation, one moment of being seen without having to hide. You're not broken. You're a survivor who learned to speak in a different frequency. And now you're learning to translate that frequency back into words. That 7-year-old who learned to go quiet, they were protecting you. They made you small so you could survive. But you're not 7 anymore. You're here. You're alive. And you have a voice that's been waiting a lifetime to be heard. Your silence was survival. Your voice is freedom. So here's my question for you. If you could tell your younger self one thing they needed to hear back, then something no adult said, what would it be? Tell me in the comments. Because I promise you, someone else needs to hear it too. Retry.